Well, hello and greetings everybody. It's JP1970 coming to you with another video. This is going to be the 7th gear challenge. I was watching, there's a few people that I've seen do this. Tony from Tasmania, saw Doyle do it. I saw, I think it was Moto G do it. And so I thought I would weigh in with my responses to this, the 7th gear challenge. So the first question was, what motivated you to get into riding? And for me, I was just a little guy. I was about 7 years old, and I remember a neighbor kid, some older kids, had a little yellow dirt bike sitting out in the front yard with a for sale sign on it. And I remember driving by that with my mom and my older sister, and I just got so excited. I just remember just looking at that. It was like a little Suzuki RM50, and it was just sitting there in the green grass, a little bright shiny yellow bike with little wheels and little tires. And I just remember I got so excited about it, and I would talk about it to my mom and to my sister about how much fun it would be and how much I wished I had that bike. And well, my older sister, she was 7 years older than me, so I was 7, she was 14. She one day she came into the house and told me to come outside, and so I did, and there it was, sitting in our front yard. That little yellow bike was no longer sitting in their front yard, it was sitting in my front yard. And I just remember having such a blast on that bike. I would, this was the Midwest, it was the 70s, I mean, it was a different time. And I would, we had a lot of open land. In fact, we had a big yard. I would just ride it around and around in the yard, and I would ride it down to the end of the street, to this big empty lot down at the end of our street, and I would just go down there and just ride that thing for hours, as I recall, man. I just had so much fun. So that's the story of what motivated me to get into riding. I was just 7 years old, and that was my first bike, a little RM50. So, and I just tore that thing up, and just by the time I was done riding it, I don't know what the heck happened to it. Probably sold it in a garage sale or something. But anyway, so yeah, so that's the story of what motivated me to get into riding. The second question asked what type of riding I prefer, whether it be twisties or straights, small group, large group. And you know, I don't mind riding on the freeway. However, my favorite kind of riding is stuff I can lean into, little twisties. So yeah, I definitely would have to go with twisties. But I don't mind if you know, up here in northeastern Nevada, sometimes you got to ride the freeway 20, 30, 50 miles to get to a nice ride, a nice twisty ride. And as far as small group or big groups, you know, I've done both, and it's fun riding in a big group. I recently did a memorial ride for an officer who was killed in the line of duty. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put it at the end of this one. You can check that out. And you know, it was fun, but that was about 30 bikes. So by my standards, that's a large group. I also ride in smaller groups from, you know, 3 to 6. And given my preference, yeah, I think the smaller groups, probably there's just less going on. You know, there's less chances of, I suppose, something happening, something going wrong. So yeah, so smaller groups would be my preference. What the heck was the next question? I'm gonna check my cheat sheet here. Okay. I'm cheating. Oh, favorite type of trip, day trip or, you know, overnighters. Well, okay. So my favorite kind of trip, as far as day trips, overnighters, that kind of thing. I love riding motorcycles, and I love riding them all day long. For me, I think I prefer the day trips. I've got some pets at home that I need to get home and take care of and check on. So for me, I'd have to say day trips are my preference. I have done overnighters. I took a trip and we stayed in hotels, and you know, we did all that. Hey, thank you, sir. And that was a great trip, and it was fun. Heck, it was a lot of fun. But given my my current situation, unless I can get somebody to come in and take care of my pets for me, I pretty much need to be back for the nighttime, take care of those little furry pets of mine. So continuing on the 7th gear challenge, got a few more questions here. My favorite trip destination so far. Now you gotta understand, I spent a lot of time from like 1987 to 2007 living in Southern California. So I'd ride up and down the coast and all over through the canyons and everything, and I really enjoyed that riding, that scenery and everything. But since I got this bike, actually, I did take a 5-day trip, overnighter, up to Montana and up through northern Nevada, into Idaho, through Idaho, and up into Montana. And wow, I just absolutely beautiful scenery. I did that within a month of owning this bike, actually. Now, as far as biggest lesson I've learned since I started riding was, or rather is, it's okay to go fast on a motorcycle. I love going fast. I love to ride, you know, at the speed limit. But I like to go. I like to have a responsive bike that moves out nice. But it's not okay to be in a hurry on a bike. So my biggest lesson that I've learned is it's okay to go fast on a bike, but you don't want to be in a hurry on a bike. That's a whole different thing. Whole different kind of thing. So, now, as far as any advice I would give, as far as advice that I would give to a new rider, wear a helmet and gloves. At the very least, okay? At the very least, wear a helmet. I have actually, when I was riding a dual sport bike in some off-road trails, I once laid that bike down, and I found out what it would be like to have my head catapult against the ground, and I sure was grateful that I had on a helmet. Not just a helmet, buy a good helmet. Don't just get the cheapest darn helmet. You know, I don't understand that. These guys that want to talk about, yeah, this helmet only cost me $30. Really? Well, okay. What's it protected? Anyway, so yeah, so my advice to a new rider would be, you know, wear some gear. At the very least, wear a helmet, wear some gloves. I have riding jeans that I wear. I have some jackets that I wear, but I'll be honest, I don't always wear them, okay? But at the very least, I always wear gloves, and I always wear a helmet, all right? So, Now my next, I believe the last question is any future rides coming up. And before all this coronavirus thing broke out, me and my friends are planning a trip, or we're planning a trip to Hell's Canyon up in Oregon. So we'll see. I don't know what's going to happen with all this coronavirus thing, but anyway, so those have been my responses to the 7th Gear Challenge, and nobody challenged me to do this, so I'm not going to challenge anybody. I just did it because I thought it was a cool challenge, and thought I'd throw it out there for you guys. So anyway, this is JP1970. I appreciate you checking out this video. Be sure and like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'm gonna throw a little ride footage on the end of this video. So enjoy.